And welcome to the channel. Damian Jackson here, back with another video. It says House Democrats' new bill on the 25th Amendment explained. It says, obviously if it's short for time, I love these little cliff notes these websites have sometimes. The Constitution's 25th Amendment, ratified in 1967, governs presidential succession and the transfer of power from an incapacitated president. Part of the amendment says the vice president and a majority of the cabinet can declare that a president is, quote unquote, unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. It also says Congress can appoint a group in place of the cabinet to make the same declaration. House Democrats introduced a bill to create a new body that would take over the role of the cabinet accordingly. It would not grant Congress the ability to invoke the 25th Amendment, because the vice president can only invoke the 25th Amendment. And this was a bill that they introduced in, wait a minute. Oh, this is old. That's right. This is from October 9th, 2020. It says the bill from Raskin, a former constitutional scholar, comes on the heels of President Donald Trump's October 2nd announcement of his positive COVID-19 test. This bill would create what would be known as the Commission on Presidential Capacity to discharge the powers and duties of the office in accordance with the 25th Amendment, which the 25th Amendment just read says if the president is unable to basically do his duties in office, if he is incapacitated. Obviously, if COVID-19 back in October affected Trump that much and he got really sick and he would be incapacitated, then the vice president and the cabinet will invoke the 25th Amendment to remove the president. Fast forward to today. Representative Adam Kinzinger becomes first Republican to call for Trump's removal from office by the 25th Amendment. October 1st. Right? October 1st. October 3rd was the other article. Today, the 7th of January, 11:13 Eastern Time, a.m. Says Representative Adam Kinzinger on Thursday became the first Republican member of Congress to call for President Donald Trump's immediate removal from office following a day of violence and looting by a pro-Trump mob that carried out an insurrection on the U.S. Capitol building. Now, if you looked at my other video or checked out my podcast, I talked about key words. Insurrection is a key word that they keep throwing around. Interestingly enough, guess what you have as well that Trump signed? The Insurrection Act, which would be now election fraud and election integrity by foreign interference. Now's the time to invoke the Insurrection Act. So interesting to see that they're already throwing out the words insurrection. And pay attention to key words, because the word will keep popping up all over the place. It's by design. It's by design. It's not a coincidence. And it wasn't a pro-Trump mob. It was a Trump mob along with Antifa people and whoever else was in there. It says the Illinois lawmaker who called on the outgoing commander-in-chief's cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment to swiftly oust him from his post described the siege of the Capitol complex as, quote unquote, a wake-up call to install a new, quote unquote, sane captain of the ship. Now I'm going to stop right there, because by this point in time, your first question should be, why the fuck do this? If President or former Vice President Joseph R. Biden won the election fairly, squarely, and all that shit, and you only got a couple of weeks to deal with Trump, why just wait? Why? Are you worried about him declassifying documents? Are you worried about him pardoning people? Like, why wait? Oh, because he's going to incite riots? If you checked out my previous video, I talked about where he didn't incite anything. The video that they took down and his tweets and stuff that he took down off of Twitter and off of Facebook and Instagram, he told everybody to go home. Said be peaceful, said respect law enforcement, respect the property and all these things. So what the fuck is the problem here? What is going on? Why are they saying like Trump is such a dangerous person, even though he's been in office for 4 years, and for 4 years all they've been telling you is that he's destroying the country? You can't just wait 2 more weeks. Quote, sadly, yesterday it became evident that not only has the president abdicated his duty to protect the American people and the people's house, false. That's my own, I'm throwing that in there. He invoked and inflamed passions that only gave fuel to the insurrection that we saw here. Kissinger stated in a video posted to Twitter, quote unquote, it's time to invoke the 25th Amendment and to end this nightmare. Oh, it's such a nightmare. Oh my God, it's so horrible. It's such a nightmare with Trump being president. What the fuck are they talking about? Well, did they freak out yesterday because people came knocking on their door having some questions and they went out in hiding? Yeah, these are the same people that will sign bills and send people overseas to die. These are the same people that said, fuck the American citizens. Here goes your $600 check. Go home. This is how they treat the American people. This is how much little they give a fuck about us. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. As I said, despite the hours long delay, from the rioters, Joe Biden was certified as the duly elected president by the U.S. Congress around 3:30 a.m. Thursday. Kissinger highlighted Trump's tepid calls for peace long after his supporters had already violently pushed past police lines. That's false as well. It's like he heard about it. I think he tweeted out the video. He was already tweeting and stuff anyway. Then he made the video. It says inside the House chamber as police had an armed standoff with rioters, but the rioters didn't have any weapons. In fact, weapons aren't allowed in D.C., so it will be only the chief of police or the Capitol Police or the Metropolitan Police, wherever the fuck their names are. They will be the ones with weapons. See how the media does shit like that? Like, I know I make videos and I'm laughing about it and stuff because I'm laughing in order to accept all this insanity that's going on. Look how they even misquoted him. It says Trump's message appeared insincere. Quote unquote, go home. We love you. You're special. What the fuck? If you're going to quote him, quote the whole thing and put it into context. They gave one sentence out of other things he said. You go check out my previous video. I read the quote word for word. They're just going to sit there and misquote the president of the United States, the active president of the United States, and now they want to get him out with like a couple weeks ago. But what was the point? What's the point? What is the point? Even Mike Pence sold him out. So what are you worried about? What is really going on here? I'm trying to see if they have anything else. No, not really. They're just talking shit. It's so stupid. Here's an article from USA Today. It's more recent. It was updated 2:37 p.m. So it says House Speaker Nancy Pelosi joins Schumer in calling for Trump's removal through 25th Amendment. A growing number of Democratic and Republican lawmakers are calling for the removal of President Donald Trump a day after pro-Trump rioters rampaged through the Capitol, violently forced their way into a rare joint session of Congress and left a trail of destruction in their wake. What the fuck? Do they think we're stupid? I watched the videos. Go watch the videos, the live streams. You can check out Gateway Pundit website. You can check out, if you want to call them far right, wherever the fuck you want to call them, you go actually look up these videos and stuff. It's not destruction. Like, they weren't even touching things, which I was shocked because I'm like, what the fuck? I thought they were really pissed off. They just kind of want to get in there. And whoever else, Antifa and whoever else is involved too in them. In the crowd that went in through the doors that they kind of let open. And the police were just kind of standing around. And then outside, you do see pictures and videos of rioters being beaten down or pepper spray, tear gas, stuff like that. But whatever. Go check out my podcast. I talked about that there. So it says the Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Thursday Congress may be prepared to impeach Trump. Impeach. Man, didn't we just do this shit last year? impeach Trump. Didn't they try to get rid of him last year? Have y'all noticed that, right? Pattern recognition, if you pay attention, it's the same shit over and over and over. Shit is wild, man. Let me pick up where I left off. It says, to impeach Trump if the vice president did not immediately invoke the 25th Amendment, which would remove Trump and put Vice President Mike Pence in power, with just 2 weeks before the president is set to leave office. 2 fucking weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Why even waste time doing this shit? Well, you really think there's so much damage that he can inflict within 2 weeks? Or what are you actually afraid of? Are you afraid of, I don't know, him exposing everything? Declassifying everything? Like I said earlier, like, are you so afraid of that? What are you afraid of? Is he really going to incite terror? The best way he can incite terror is by telling everybody the absolute fucking truth. And really releasing all the information. All the documents, JFK really redacting the JFK document as far as the Warren Commission report. Really saying what's going on and stuff. I mean, if that's what you're afraid of, because if you saw Nancy Pelosi yesterday, she was up there a little nervous while she was talking. Why be nervous? Why are they so afraid and why are they panicking so much? So much. If they won the election, if they got the president they want, right? If they got the whole return to normalcy with Joe Biden and our country would be respected around the world, then what the fuck are you afraid of? 2 weeks ago? Doesn't sound like you're a warrior. Doesn't sound like the righteousness and truth is on your side. Because if that's the case, you wouldn't be afraid of anything at all. You wouldn't be concerned. I'm trying to figure out who this quote is from. I guess from Pelosi. It says, quote unquote, I joined the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the vice president to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment, she said. If the vice president and cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment. So once again, they're going to waste taxpayer dollars. They're going to sit there and pretend like they're doing a job to impeach a president in 2 fucking weeks. At this point, there's no fucking way any of this shit makes sense. I don't care who you are. It doesn't make sense. This is a waste of time. This is something you not need to do. What are you so concerned about? What are you so afraid of? Because if that's the most violence you saw yesterday, now they want to set up a fence, a perimeter around the Capitol building. Why didn't they do that yesterday? I thought they was already preparing for the rally and preparing for the worst. It's almost like they just let them in the fucking door. Oh, that's right, because it's white privilege. That's why they let him in. Come on, man. Get your head out your ass. Use your fucking brain and think. We got to figure this shit out. You got to figure this shit out. Trust me. That thought crossed my mind. I'm like, man, when they do this with black people, now I had to slap my own fucking self. Like, hey, come on. You better than that. Don't even go down that route. That's not a real thought. That's an emotional response programmed into you. This is not an actual thought. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. As they're so worried about the Capitol and stuff, they worry about themselves? They got a little nervous? Did somebody piss on themselves? What, did Nancy Pelosi shit her pants or something? Should they go hiding and stuff? Because people with no fucking guns came in there? Even though they're protected by a slew of law enforcement officers with fucking guns? What are you afraid of? Is the real question. It says, under the 25th Amendment, the vice president and majority of the 15 cabinet members could declare the president unable to discharge the powers of duties in his office. If the president disputes the determination, 2/3 of both the House and Senate must vote in favor of keeping Pence in charge as acting president. But I just read to you that it's only for if the president is incapacitated. I can't think of the word. It's only for if the president is, incapacitated. Shit, I was right. I don't know what I'm thinking of. This shit blows my fucking mind. It made me fucking lose my brain sometimes. But he's not incapacitated, so therefore you have no grounds to invoke the 25th Amendment. So we're just going to say fuck what the Constitution says or wherever the 25th Amendment says and stuff like that and just twist it to our definition and fit our needs whenever we want it to. This is bullshit, man. Don't fall for these things. Pelosi said she was unsure when the vice president would respond to her call, but added, I don't think, quote unquote, I don't think it will take long to get an answer from the vice president. It will be yes or it will be no. Well, yeah, because Pence already sold out America and Trump yesterday in front of our fucking eyes. It's funny how now, with the 25th Amendment, Vice President Mike Pence has power, but yet Mike Pence doesn't have power when he's the president of the Senate to object to the certification of the Electoral College? That's odd, right? Whatever. Quote unquote, while it's only 13 days left, any day can be a horror show for America. And that's exactly their motivation right there. Let's get everyone into fear. Let's scare the fuck out of everybody into following us and believing our side. 9/11, COVID, Benghazi terrorist attacks, bombings, all these things. Fear, fear, fear. Because if we scare the shit out of you, you'll follow us like we're your saviors. That's what they're all concerned of. That's what the fuck they want. That's their ultimate motivation. Fear, fear, fear. Fuck these people. Fuck what they're saying. It's bullshit. So until next time.